Hello, my name is John Williams, and for my informative speech, the person I have chosen today is Leonidas I, king of Sparta in around 450 BC. King Leonidas rose to fame through the Battle of Thermopylae when him and his 300 Spartans, along with about 5,000 to 6,000 other Greek soldiers, went and fought the monstrous army of King Xerxes' Persians, and they had about 300,000 plus, along with animals and all types of beasts that these ancient Greeks had never seen. So, I've done my research on King Leonidas and the outnumbered Greeks' army he led into a mission of almost certain death. Leonidas I of Sparta led an alliance of these Greek city-states to go defeat King Xerxes. Now, as many of you may have seen in the movie 300, he had to go and ask these oracles and these higher-ups for permission to go and fight. He didn't get that permission. Instead, he got a dilemma or an answer, if you will, with two outcomes. He said they told him that if he went to war against their permission, that either Greece would fall or he would lose his life. King Leonidas didn't care, and he went to battle anyways. So today we will discuss Leonidas I before the Battle of Thermopylae, during the infamous battle, and the aftermath of that battle. First and foremost, we will begin with who King Leonidas I was before this infamous battle. So to understand King Leonidas, you have to understand where he comes from and his lineage. His father reigned king before him, his older brother, and his second oldest brother. His oldest brother died in battle. His second oldest brother died of very mysterious circumstances, and to this day it is unknown. Some spectacle suicide. Others think it was some speculate suicide. Others speculate foul play. Thus, he became king and political and military leader of Sparta. Since a young child, King Leonidas, just like all other male Spartans, was trained mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually to be a hoplite warrior. Now, a hoplite warrior wasn't just like any other warrior in Greece, nor the world. Hoplite warriors were the infamous Spartans that we know today. They were bred since a young child to be these fierce warriors, not to fear anything. And the greatest glory they could ever have in life is to die in battle for Sparta. They looked at that as that was their greatest fulfillment in life as a male Spartan. So that's important to keep in mind. And according to Herodotus, one of the first ever, if not the first historian we have on record, he came and said Leonidas would have been in his 60s by this battle of Thermopylae, and thus a very experienced military commander. So now that we know a little bit about Leonidas before the battle, let's get into what happened during. So the battle lasted 3 days, and it is the most famous out of all Greco-Persian battles. The 300 Spartans and 6,000 Greek volunteers fought 300,000 plus Persians in a battle that brought almost certain death. Leonidas made sure that all 300 of his Spartans he selected had sons that would survive them if the battle didn't go well. Spartans dominated the first 2 days with their impeccable military strategies, just like I touched on the hoplites. It wasn't just their physical superiority, but it was their mental discipline and their strategic ways that ultimately won them most of their victories. Through the first 2 days, King Xerxes, the king of Persia, sent everything he had at these guys. He sent to the lower soldiers, the medium-level soldiers, and he sent his most elite king's bodyguards, who were called the Immortals. The Immortals weren't even enough to stop the Spartans. In their battle formation, where with their circular shields blocking every way, covered in everywhere, it was impenetrable, and they moved like a unit, and they destroyed a majority of not a majority, but they destroyed every one who came at them. Unfortunately, upon the third day, a Greek spy who was working for King Xerxes found a way to flank the 300 Spartans in this canyon that they were defending. When word got back to the Spartans, King Leonidas made a decision to send a majority of the Greek volunteers home, while he kept some of them and all his 300 Spartans to sacrifice their lives that day for the greater good of Greece. Upon the third day, King Leonidas gave one of the greatest speeches we may have ever witnessed as a humankind. I'm going to play the video. It's short. And long story short, King Leonidas and his 300 men, along with the other Greek soldiers, sacrificed their lives that day so that Greece could... Let me fix that. On to my third point, the aftermath of the war. So Leonidas and his 300 men sacrifice lives on to this day as one of the greatest examples in history of a sacrifice for the greater good of one's nation. Him and the 300 Spartans give the rest of Greece a morale boost and the time that they needed to properly prepare for King Xerxes' Persian army. The Greeks ultimately defeated the Persians in the Greco-Persian Wars, but they could not have done it without King Leonidas and his 300 men's brave sacrifice, which started it all. To this day, King Leonidas' story lives on and continues to inspire many. As many of you may have seen in the movie 300, one of my personal favorite movies, this is beautifully depicted. So, in conclusion, King Leonidas I is one of the greatest warriors our world has ever seen for his bravery, his courage, and his ultimate sacrifice, which he showed previous to the war, during, and the legacy that lives on. Leonidas is a man who inspires many and inspires me to never back down from anything and is willing to pay whatever sacrifice must be for the greater good of others and for what he believes in. Thank you.
That was good. 6 minutes.